All right, man, peace. You know, brother, sometimes in life, we're able to attain nice things or a nice thing, and then we realize that it's more trouble than it's worth. And it's starting to become more and more apparent to me that Odell Beckham represents that nice thing that's a bit more trouble than it's worth. And I believe that the New York Giants are going to be forced to come to that understanding as well for the betterment of their franchise and for Odell Beckham. So anyway, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
All right. We'll keep it moving here, guys. A big win for the New York Football Giants over the weekend as they took down the NFC North leading Chicago Bears in overtime. Odell Beckham Jr. had a touchdown catch, but the highlight was his 49-yard touchdown pass to Russell Shepard. He was also criticized for not recovering the onside kick by the Bears, which he responded to.
Now, I watched this play live because I was watching this game, and it was very obvious what happened to Odell. He made what they call a business decision. He decided that he was not going to dive into that fray and risk having his knee torn up or his shoulder pulled out of the socket. And that's fine. But as we all know, Odell is very, very conscious of his image. He likes to cultivate this image of the thug pretty boy in the NFL. The guy who can put a bunch of spritz on his curly blonde tendrils, but is also ready to have a fist fight with a 290-pound defensive lineman. At least that's the sentiment that he likes to put forth or propagate about himself. And we know that that's not true. Odell is very image conscious, and he's worried about that type of thing. And you know what? For all intents and purposes, I don't blame him, because he has no business being out there on the special teams, even with the hands team. I mean, really, is it worth it? Your team is 3-7. You're going to put your most prized possession out there to possibly get torn up?
After the game.
It was a great kick. You know, sometimes somebody makes a better play than you do. I could dive in there and still not get the ball. So, it was a very tough call. Nobody should ever question my effort or my heart.
Well, see, look, this is the problem that I have with Odell right here. Instead of him just being honest and saying, you know what, no comment, and then going to the coaching staff and telling them, I'm not really built for this special team stuff in regards to recovering onside kicks. Because that's basically a kamikaze mission. You're being sent out there to sacrifice yourself for the most part, especially if your front line does not pick up their blocks like they're supposed to. Instead of him just being honest, he has to try to act like, he's super macho, and never at any time is he concerned with his safety out there on the football field. At the end of the day, last season ended for him by basically having his ankle caved in. And when he left the field, he was crying like a baby. And I mean, it is what it is. I don't know what type of pain he was feeling, so I'm sure that it was excruciating. But just looking at him as a person, I think that the Giants should be thinking about moving Odell Beckham, because he's not leadership material. He's an unbelievable natural athlete, great wide receiver, but he's not somebody that I would want on my team as a leader, because I think that he's prone to mental breakdowns.
That's the last thing you could do. You can question me as a person, as a man, whatever you want to do, but my heart and my effort can never be questioned, ever.
Odell's one of those guys. He's like a chick that leaves her house, knows that she has big titties, a flat stomach, and a fat ass. So she walks out into the street half naked and then complains that she's getting street harassed. That's Odell Beckham. She said, them outfits, my man got on about 10 chains glistening, a huge beard, jewel-encrusted teeth, and platinum blonde curly tendrils on the top of his head. But then he'll complain that when he goes out in the street, he does not get respected by the fans. They view him almost like a circus clown. Well, how are they supposed to view you, Odell Beckham?
Max, what was your biggest takeaway from that game?
It wasn't the fact that the Giants beat the Bears, even though that was stupid of them. They should be looking for a draft pick at this point. But
I agree with you, Max Kellerman, but you know what? If that's the case, then they need to sit down their starters. They need to make up some injuries for Odell and some of these other guys. And then just say, we're going into lottery mode. And then say, we're going to try to get the highest draft pick that we can get. But you can't roll out your best players and then expect them to not do their best.
it was a funky week in the NFL. It's one of those NFL weeks, starting with the Cowboys beating the Saints, which maybe you could see coming a little bit. Arizona beating Green Bay at Lambeau. The Chargers beating the Steelers, which you also maybe you could see coming a bit, but still an odd result the way they came back on Pittsburgh. The Jags shutting out the Colts 6-0. So I don't take away like, oh my God, the Bears lost to the Giants. It's actually that Odell situation. I agree with Odell. You can't question his heart. The man plays with heart. He's also, when you think from one way of...
He does play with heart, but he tries to act like at every point in the game he's going to play with reckless abandon, and he's not. There was a better way to handle that, but I understand the discomfort that he must have felt by being asked that question, because basically they were trying to question his manhood as an athlete.
Of thinking about it, the greatest athlete on earth. Like, if you see him taking batting practice at Yankee Stadium.
Max Kellerman, the master of hyperbole. Let me rewind this back a little bit.
Dell, you can't question his heart. The man plays with heart. He's also, when you think from one way of thinking about it, the greatest athlete on earth. Like,
so Odell Beckham, from quote unquote one way of thinking about it, is the best athlete on earth. And what one way would that be, Max Kellerman? Would that be your way? I mean, don't get it twisted. Odell's a great athlete. And if you've seen him on Instagram, no matter what sport he plays, he seems to be a natural. But to call him the best athlete on earth, I'm not quite sure about that one.
If you see him taking batting practice at Yankee Stadium, hitting one ball after another over the fence, if you see him throw a spiral with his opposite hand 50 yards, kick a soccer ball.
Yeah, no doubt. Odell's one of those guys who probably could have been a professional in 3 or 4 different sports. There's no doubt about that.
But I need you on this, because I was thinking about you yesterday. The second I saw this play, I'm waiting for your answer on this one.
So, I'm not questioning his heart or his skill.
Okay.
I thought he made a business decision on that play. I don't think that doesn't mean you have heart.
Okay.
I don't think that doesn't mean you have heart. I think it's smart.
You got on it when Camden
There
jumped
you
on
go.
the ball in the Super Bowl.
Thank you.
Right.
In the Super Bowl, with
I'm
the
just
game
saying,
on the
I
line,
gotta hold you
that's
accountable,
when
'cause you
your
did.
best player and the future of your franchise jumps on that damn ball. Get your nose in there. That's the definition of when you do it. Super Bowl, one possession game on the line, go get the ball.
Well, you're assuming that Odell Beckham would have jumped on the ball in that situation. And I guess that's good, because you're giving him the benefit of the doubt.
When you have 3 wins on the season and you really should be jockeying for draft position, that's when maybe you take a calculated risk and you swipe at the ball. And otherwise, I don't want to see Odell Beckham Jr. get hurt on a stupid play trying to recover a ball at the end of a game. I want them to lose.
I agree with you. It was a business decision. But if you look at that play in slow motion, there was a very, very, very low risk of him getting hurt. It was just him and that one player. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing, okay?
I'll partially agree with that. It wasn't like Odell was about to dive into a mix where there were already 8 dudes there and he was worried about his shoulder getting pulled out of the socket or his knee getting wrenched out. Odell was just chilling. He was trying to front like he wasn't chilling, but he was chilling.
That's one thing. Number 2, I don't want to hear him talk about don't ever question his heart or whatever. Nobody's questioning your heart. That would be stupid, because he's loaded with heart and obviously mercurial ability. The guy is sensational. We get all of that.
Just to be as great a wide receiver as Odell is, you have to have a lot of heart, especially in today's NFL, where when wide receivers or tight ends go over the middle, at one time they had to be worried about, a safety or a linebacker trying to take their head off. Now they have to be concerned at a safety or a linebacker diving at their knees. So you still need a tremendous amount of courage and bravery.
But in that particular play, while you were making the business decision, if somebody would have questioned your heart, they got every reason to. It's not like you gave us no reason to. Now, granted, again, I agree with you, Max. I'm totally with you. It's a business decision.
I just keep watching it over and over.
Giants 3 wins. Look at this, Max. I mean, really hurt? Come on now. Stop.
Imagine if he would have broken his hand on that play.
Say, fingernail? You want to go fingernail?
I don't care what it is. A hangnail?
It's okay.
No.
Fine. It's fine. Like I said, I'm not disagreeing with you. All I'm trying to say is that ain't the day for him to question or generalize.
Well, you know what, Stephen A? One could certainly say that there is no such thing as the wrong day to question somebody trying to question your heart, especially if you're Odell Beckham and you're very concerned about how you're perceived. That's why I'm saying if I'm the Giants, I'd probably cut bait on Odell, because he's our most tradable commodity outside of the young running back, and we have aspirations for the young running back. I don't have too many aspirations for Odell, because to me, I foresee Odell Beckham being a huge distraction for the entirety of his NFL career. And if you're not going to bring in a new quarterback, a great quarterback, to be the leader of the New York Giants, what really are you going to do with Odell Beckham? Either you keep Eli, or you draft a young kid out of college who's going to have to be subjected to Odell Beckham constantly telling him to throw me the football. That quarterback is going to take probably 3 years to develop. By that time, Odell's already 28 going on 29. Why not just see if you can trade him now? Try to move him now. Hell, maybe you can contact Green Bay and see if they want him.
Issues about his heart.
Being a little defensive. You know why? Because he knows everyone's thought. Listen,
that's what it is.
If he would have gotten his nose in there on that play, I'd have questioned his brain. Forget about his heart. He made a smart decision.
Well, you know what, Max Kellerman, that takes me back to my original point. It's not really for you, or it would not be for you, to question Odell Beckham's brain were he to have dived in to get the football. You should be questioning the brain of the coaches that have him out there with the hands team to get the football like that. And of course, people are going to say, what are you talking about? Odell's the best receiver on the team. He should be out there with the hands team. Well, no problem. So then if you're ready to lose your most valuable commodity, don't complain. Because I believe that it was Marcellus Wiley who I heard state that the onside kick play is the most dangerous play in football.
I'm not faulting him for it. I totally get it. Just don't sit up there on your high horse after the game. Don't ever question my heart, Captain. Excuse me. You did it. You brought it into question with that play that everybody watched.
No one's questioning your heart, Odell, but everyone saw what happened.
And they put him in the game where they almost lost. They had a 10-point lead with 80 seconds left, and it got tied in regulation.
The Chicago Bears, they ran one of the best plays that I've ever seen to tie the game up in regulation. That was a tremendous play.
Said the backup quarterback. Cohen is explosive, though.
But anyway, that's basically it on that. We'll see how things transpire with the Odell Beckham situation. So peace.